All right, let's go through a little example how we score a game. I've got a couple of batsmen here, David Warner and Joe Root out here. And I've got a couple of bowlers, Jason Holder and Roston Chase down there. Let's run through a few overs, start to accumulate scoring so that we can see how we actually begin to score. These guys are obviously not on the same team, but just for an example, it doesn't really matter too much. So we're probably just going to go start over here on the normal batting grade. And if I just remove these two batsmen here for a second, we can see that Jason Holder is bowling from the pavilion end, and from the other end we've got Roston Chase from the scoreboard end. So I'm just going to put David Warner and Joe Root in the middle, so I don't have to flip cards. When you do it however you like, obviously. I think there are some things that you can get, so the cards will sit up and face you, but I haven't used those. Okay, so we've got Jason Holder, and he's bowling to David Warner. Now, we're just going to play as is. We're not going to play any special rules at the moment. So again, we've got the red for the bowler and the green for the batter. So we got a 5 for the bowler and we got a 10 for the batter. So the bowler is 5, good length, -1. 10 for the batter is a B. So we got a good length B, -1 is a C. So if there was no -1, David Warner would have got a single, but it's going to be a forward defensive shot. So what we do over here is we have no runs, so we indicate that in the scorebook as a dot for David Warner. And then we come down to the bowler as well, which is Jason Holder. And down in his little box here, we put a dot ball. So now we know that Jason Holder has bowled a ball that hasn't been scored against, but we're also keeping a track of David Warner's, how many balls he's faced as well. So because nothing happens there, David Warner is still on strike to Jason Holder. Okay, so we've got an 11 for the bowler, and we've got a 3 for the batsman. Now, 11 for the bowler is a good length, or a good e-length, which is the spelling mistake that we saw the other day. But it's good length. And a 3 for the batsman is an X. Okay, so we look at good length and an X. And we've got 1 to 3 is an appeal chart, 4 to 6 is beaten. Now, beaten is something that you've put the bat out with, but you haven't been able to hit it. The ball was too good for you, and it goes through to the wicketkeeper for no runs. But we have to roll another 6-sided dice here. And it's a 6. So 4 to 6 is beaten. So it's beaten, and again, David Warner has got no runs. So that's 2 deliveries gone. Now, in cricket, there are 6 deliveries per over. In the game international cricket, they condense that down to 3 actions per over. So each of these balls here is worth 2 balls in real time. So this is basically our last action of the over. So instead of doing this 6 times, we're doing it 3 times. So in real cricket, he would have faced 4 balls for no runs. So the last ball of the over here for David Warner. And we've got a 4 for the bowler. And we've got a 4 for the batsman. 4 for the bowler is a swing -1. For the batsman, it's a B. So swing B -1 goes down to a C. It's pushed to the offside for a single. Okay, so we have 1 run for David Warner and 1 run against Jason Holder. Now, normally, if that was the case and we scored a run, then Joe Root would be on strike. But because it's the last ball, he's regained the strike. Because he's hit an odd number of runs on the last ball, he'll face at the other end. In the last video, I think in the video before, we talked about changing ends at the end of the over, how the bowler would change ends. So Jason Holder's bowled at the pavilion end. David Warner's hit a single from the pavilion end, and he's gone down to become the non-striker at the scoreboard end. But because it is the end of the over, Roston Chase is now bowling from the scoreboard end, and David Warner's there to face him. So basically, we have the end of the over for Holder, and we have 1 run against him. Joe Root yet to face. We're going to change this over here to Roston Chase, and Roston Chase is an off-spin bowler. He's going to be bowling to David Warner. So we've got 6 for the bowler and 6 for the batter. So 6 is a good length and an A. So a good length and an A, push wide of mid-wicket for a single. So another run for David Warner. He moves to 2 runs. And then Roston Chase already got a run. Now, I've already forgotten something. When David Warner got his first run against Jason Holder, I have a score book over here, and we mark off the team tally as 1. And then obviously he's got a second run now against Roston Chase, so it's none for 2. The score, David Warner's got both runs. But because he's got a run and that's the first action of the over, Joe Root is going to be facing for the first time against Roston Chase. Okay, so we've got a 7 for the bowler and a 4 for the batter. 7 is an over-pitched delivery and an E for Joe Root. So over-pitched E, and Joe Root's forced that away on the onside, so he's forced it away past mid-wicket for 2 runs. So Joe Root gets off the mark straight away. So 2 runs on the batter, 2 runs on the bowler, and 2 runs on the team total. So the team total is none for 4, and David Warner has got 2 runs and Joe Root's got 2 runs. So we've had 2 actions in the over. Let's have our third action. And we've got 8 for the bowler and 8 for the batter. 8 is a short delivery for Roston Chase, so easy to hit away. 8 is a D for Joe Root. We come to the short section, and Joe Root has turned that off the pads onto the onside for another 2 runs. So 2 to Root, 2 against Roston Chase, 2 on the scorecard here. So they're none for 6, this team up here. There we go. After the 3 actions, we count up how many runs there were. 2, 4, 5 for Roston Chase. So you can see that we've got 6 runs all up. 1 run has been charged to Holder and 5 against Roston Chase. Now, the last ball of the over has happened. So we're going back to bowl at Jason Holder's end, the pavilion end. And this time David Warner is facing. Okay, because David Warner was at the pavilion end as a non-striker. Sorry, he was at the scoreboard end as a non-striker. Now when they're bowling from the pavilion end towards the scoreboard end, he's going to be the one on strike. Okay, we've got an 11 for Jason Holder, which is a good length, and a 10 for David Warner, and that's a B. And a good length B is 1 run. So Warner gets a single, moves to 3 runs. Jason Holder has 1 run against him. This time it's in his second over. You see how there's all the different overs there? So the first over is all finished for 1 run. Now he's got the figures of no wickets for 2, and he's in his second over. That's also 7 runs. So he's got 1 run, so Joe Root is on strike now for the second action of Jason Holder's over. We have 8 and 4. Now 8 is good length. Joe Root, 4 is an E. Good length and an E. It's a forward defensive stroke for 0 runs. So Joe Root gets 0 runs, which we indicate with a dot ball. Jason Holder, dot ball. We don't have to do anything over here because the score hasn't changed. Last action of the over. And I've dropped the dice already. And it's coming back. And we've got an 11 for the bowler. And we've got a 4 for the batsman. So 11 for the bowler is good length. So Holder's bowling quite well. And a 4 is an E. Exactly the same as last time. Good length E, forward defensive stroke. And that's a dot ball for Root. Dot ball for Jason Holder. So now he's finished 2 overs here. And in the first over he got 1 run. How many did you get in this over? 1 run. So he had the 1 to 1, and he's got the figures of 2 overs, none for 2. So no wickets taken by Jason Holder, but 2 runs against him. So again, David Warner's going to face the next over, but this time he's facing Joe Root. Now let's see if we can get a little bit of more action happening over here. So let's go over the page here. And the batsmen are going to be looking for runs now. Okay, Roston Chase. That's a 4 against a 9. So Roston Chase is a good length -1. It's a 9. So we've got a C. But C comes down to a D. And it's glanced to fine leg for a single. Sorry, I got the wrong guy. It is 4 versus a 9. 9 is an F for David Warner. So an F becomes then a G with the -1 as a defensive shot. So no runs for David Warner. So again, a dot up here, a dot down here on Roston Chase. And again, we don't change this scorebook because we scored no runs. Second ball, we have a 12. Now a 12 is basically an extras roll, but I haven't gone through that yet, so I'll just re-roll those bowlers' dice. We've got a 4 on the bowler and a 3 for the batsman. So a 4 on the bowler is a good length -1. 3 for David Warner is an X. So if we go over to good length X and we -1 on that, we're going to the out chart. So we haven't gone through that yet, but let's go over and have a look. Hopefully I'll be able to sort this out. Now the out chart is in 3 parts. We have a medium bowler out chart, so they bowl medium pace. We have a fast and fast medium bowlers chart, and then we have a slow bowlers chart with spin bowler. Now Roston Chase is an off break bowler or an off spinner, which means he's a spin bowler, which means we have to roll against a slow bowler chart. So we roll 2 dice, and it's a 36. Look at 36. Hard hit drive, mid-on gets both hands to the ball. Catch is a 7. So basically David Warner has a chance to get out here. What we do is we add the fielder at mid-off. Sorry, is mid-on. Two dice rolls to see if he takes the catch. Now, we don't have field placements at the moment, but if we take, say, Craig Braithwaite for the West Indies, say he was the fielder at mid-on. We've got his fielding rating, the F rating up the top here. We've got a 2 for runouts and a 2 for catching. So we're going to roll, we need the catching rating, obviously the 2. We're going to roll these 2 dice. We've rolled a 9 and we add the 2 rating of Braithwaite to make 11. What did it say? Hard hit, line drive, mid-on, gets both hands to the ball. Catch 7. So if it's 7 or above, Braithwaite has taken the catch, and Roston Chase has got the wicket. David Warner is out. So in this case, that's well above the 7 required. Braithwaite has taken the catch. So what we do is we go, David Warner is dismissed. You can put a little cross there. And we can put caught Braithwaite. Now I like to put where it was caught, so like mid-on. And it was bowled by Roston Chase. Down here on Roston Chase, you want to put a little X. You want to circle it. I like to put a little tally over here in the wickets column as well. Now, David Warner scored how many runs? 1, 2, 3. He scored 3 runs. How many actions over here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As I said, it's 3 actions per 6 ball over, so every one of these is worth 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2 is 14. So David Warner got 3 runs off 14 balls. Did he get any 4s and 6s? He didn't hit any boundaries, so that's 0-0. Now over here on our scorebook, we want to put a big line underneath 7 to indicate when we first lost our first wicket. And then under here on the fall of wickets, our first wicket that we've lost is at 7 runs. It was a 7-run partnership. and we basically write down here that it was David Warner that got out. So David Warner is out. So the score for this team up here is 1 for 7, and we're nearly through 4 overs. Might just grab another player. Say Hetmeyer is the new batsman for this team that's batting. So this is Shimron Hetmeyer. And we've got 1 action left because we've had 2 actions for Roston Chase. Now, Hetmeyer's coming in. He's going to be defensive to start off with. So it's a 7 for Roston Chase coming up against a 9. So it's overpitched. And it's an F. And it's pushed into the covers for a single. So Hetmeyer's off the mark. 1 run over here as well. So now we've got 1 more run to add to his 6. So it's 5 in the first over, 1 in the second. He's got 6, and he's got 1 wicket for 6 runs off 2 overs now. And the score for this team is 1 for 8. Now, when I was looking at that 9 for Hetmeyer, you can see there's a number in brackets afterwards. Now, I'll explain all that later. Generally, when you first come in, you'll be using the second or the number in brackets until you roll a dice number. For Hetmeyer, it's a 5. That would indicate that he's batting well. Now, he would have to have scored at least 1 run for him to roll that 5 to have that batting well panel. Once he's got that batting well panel, you ignore these ones in the brackets and you just use whatever's there. Not every number will have 1 in the brackets, but if they do and the batter is not batting well, you always take that second one. It's usually worse. It means they're able to get out a lot easier. So Hetmeyer got a single off the last ball of the over, so he's going to retain the strike when they swap ends, and Jason Holder's bowling again. So let's just say Hetmeyer is back into it again, and he's looking for runs again. Now generally it's going to take a while before they go up the grades or the approaches, but just for this example, 5 for the bowler and 8 for the batter. So 5 for the bowler is good length -1. 8 for the batter is a C. So good length C is going to be deflected to third man. So it was a B, -1 to make it a C, but it's 1 run for Hetmeyer. So Hetmeyer scores a run against Jason Holder, and it's 1 for 9. Joe Root is now batting. He hasn't had a boundary yet, so hopefully we'll have one soon. We've got a 9, which is a swing delivery for Jason Holder, coming up against a 12 for Joe Root. A swing delivery H for Joe Root. Swing H, and that says edge chance chart. So another chance for a dismissal. So then we go across to the edge chance chart, which is here. It's the same whether you're a fast bowler or a slow bowler. So we roll the 2 dice. It's a 15. Short leg dies for a low catch 8. Now we'll just use Brathwaite again. He might have moved positions, who knows? So we know that he's a 2 catcher. And we need to get these 2 dice rolled. And if the 2 plus these dice are 8 or above, it's going to be out. We have a 6 plus a 2 is 8 exactly. So that means that he is out. So Joe Root is out. So again, we have our second wicket. So we've got caught by Mr. Everywhere Brathwaite. And that's at short leg. And it's bowled by Jason Holder. And Joe Root has got 2 4 runs. How many actions? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2 is 10. And again, he had no boundaries, no 4s and no 6s. Again, we need to put a big line under the wicket there on 9. So the faller wicket was at 9. Now, the last faller wicket when Hetmeyer came in was at 7. So between Hetmeyer and Root, in their partnership together before Root got out, they scored 2 runs. and we write down the route that got out. And obviously down here we've got Jason Holder with a wicket. So now he's got figures of 2 for 3. Let's grab another batter, and I tend to be using a lot of the West Indies guys because they're on top. This is Mr. Bonner. Just call him Bonner on here. And we've got one more action left in the over. Let's just go straight for looking for runs. Okay, we've got a 9 again, which is a swing delivery, and a 10, which is a G. And a swing G is beaten outside off stump, so that's no runs. So Bonner has quite a nervous push at that one, but no more runs. So we have 1 run to add on to the 2 runs previously, and Jason Holder is bowling very economically. He's got 3 overs, 1 wicket for 3 runs now. Back to Roston Chase. Hetmeyer's back out there, trying to get you some boundaries, but it's not working. Okay, so we got a 5 and an 8. So 5 is a turn delivery, -1, and an 8 is a B. So we got a turn B, -1, comes to a C, is 1 run for Shimron Hetmeyer, should I say. 1 run there, 1 run there, 1 run over here. So we've got 2 for 10 now. That'll bring Bonner on strike because they crossed. We got a 9, which is a lift delivery for Chase, versus a 4 for Bonner. It's a C, a lift C. We can see it's pushed to mid-wicket for a single. So Bonner scores a run. Roston Chase 1 against him. 2 singles off the over so far, which means Hetmeyer's back on strike for the last action of the over. We have a 7 for the bowler and a 5 for the batter. This one is overpitched, and that's an A. Overpitched A is a cover drive for 4. So we've got our first boundary. So Hetmeyer gets 4. Roston Chase 4 against him, which means there was 6 off that over. To add to his 6 is at 12. And over here, we've got 15 runs. Now that's basically how you score. Now obviously the game's going to go a lot quicker than that if you're not videoing it. When the very next bowler comes on, say the next bowler was Brathwaite, who's been fielding for us, we would then write Brathwaite in here. And then he would replace. So just say he replaced Holder at the pavilion end, and then he'd be bowling to Bonner. Actually, we'll do this one. So Bonner's up. 7 for Brathwaite and 10 for Bonner. So 7 is a short ball for Brathwaite and a B for Bonner. So short and B, he's hooked it for 4. So now we're starting to get some runs. Bonner gets his first boundary. That boundary is against Brathwaite. And we got 4 more runs. So now it's 2 for 19. Second action of the over. We got 10 for Brathwaite. We've got 5 for Bonner. So 10 for Brathwaite is turn -1. 5 for Bonner is a D. Turn -1, a D. Would have been a single, but it's an E because it was -1, so it's a dot ball for Bonner. We've got a 6 for the bowler, and we've got a 9 for the batter. So for the bowler, it's overpitched. 9 for the batter is a G. Overpitched, G. Push past short leg for a single for Bonner. So 1 for Bonner against Brathwaite, and 1 on the score. That's the end of the over. That's our 3 actions, constituting 6 balls in real life. And because it's his first over, we've got 5 runs off him, 4 and a 1. And we can see up here that right now, Hetmeyer is on 7, 1, 2, 3, 7, and Bonner is on 6. So these are the not out batsmen, 1 on 6, 1 on 7. Bowling figures, we've got Jason Holder, 3 overs, 1 wicket for 3 runs. We got Roston Chase, 3 overs, 1 wicket for 12 runs. And we got Craig Brathwaite, 1 over, no wickets for 5 runs. All up, we're 2 for 20. So that's the basic way you score. You do have extras that come along, which I haven't gone when you roll at 12. And you can mark the extras down here. Depending on the extras type, you may not add that to the bowler. But we'll go through that when we go through extras. But that's simple scoring in cricket. Any questions, and I'm sure there'll be some, just let me know.